the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
Well, welcome to this BC Strategies podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode. Hello everybody on the internet. This is Cress TV from...
Hello and welcome back Let's Do Video viewers.
Hi everybody, welcome to this product briefing from Empowering Cloud. I'm looking forward to this one because it's not...
Well, welcome everybody. This is, I don't know what this is. This is all of our webcasts combined. I'm here in the peanut gallery with everybody. Let's start to my left. Kevin, introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Kevin Keeler, co-founder and lead analyst at Enable UC, and also the leader of BC Strategies, and thrilled to be here at
Whatever here is. Yeah,
yes.
I don't know what it is.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Where are we? What day is it?
Yes, exactly.
So I'm Neil Flust, Director of Technical Marketing at Crestron. My first Enterprise Connect, very excited and brilliant. It's very early in the morning, so I'm still
It's your
waking
first
up.
one?
It is, yeah.
Wow.
I'm Enterprise Connect Virgin.
Okay.
You said don't say anything dodgy. There we go.
It's already
Blew it right at the beginning.
There you go.
Okay. Good, Tim.
My name is Tim Albright. I am the chief bottle washer and janitor at AVNation.
Assume it's a good mic, but not a great mic. You might
Okay,
have to
I'm
there you
Tim
go.
Albright. There we go.
Right, there you go.
It's not sure.
No, it's not.
I am Erwin Lazar, President and Principal Analyst with a company called Metrigy.
Okay. We are sitting, I'm being very honest with everybody, it's 8:12 in the morning.
Eastern Daylight Time.
Eastern Daylight Time on Tuesday morning at Enterprise Connect. We've had one full day. We haven't had any of the real keynotes yet. And we will have people coming in and out of this broadcast. People will be getting up, moving. It's really going to be awkward. Every one of us are going to put it out on the air under our names. You see, we already had somebody walk out already. Tim's gone already. That didn't last very long. Thanks, Tim. So I guess what we really want to say is, I don't know, we can't really talk about what we've heard at the show, even though there have been some announcements, but it's more what we're expecting. I guess, whoever wants to talk about it, but we've been talking about AI and the drinking game.
The first person that says AI gets hit in the head.
Yeah,
exactly.
loses.
Sorry, it was you, Tim.
You've done it.
You're done lost.
We had one presentation on the main stage yesterday with companies and end users, and that's all they talked about was AI.
Yeah, if we can't talk about AI, we're done. We can just pack up and call it a day.
Well, I was talking to Tim before that we're going to do a blog with this show. We're going to do the last conference we went to a couple of weeks ago, just white out or electronically remove the name, put in the name Enterprise Connect, and we're done, right? There were a couple of announcements, not really any big. There are a couple of new products from Cisco. Zoom had a lot of alliances, right? Just products and alliances, and then Copilot everywhere, right?
Yeah. No, I think AI. For me, the thing is everybody's talking about AI, but I find the misinformation, it's complicated to understand. And, I did a presentation yesterday trying to boil that down and explain it, and it's really hard. But then when you talk to people, they have all kinds of radically different ideas. And we're going to move this over here.
No, don't move it. Just
okay.
when he's talking, when you're talking.
Okay, I see.
Well,
welcome, David.
I think the interesting thing about that is that there's two parts to it. I think there is the people who've got substance, and as we said earlier, your presentation had substance, and then there's the bandwagon.
Okay.
There's a big bandwagon. I don't know what you call it in America, a minivan or something. It's
Bandwagon works.
bandwagon, and it's got AI written on the side of it, and everyone's on that bandwagon.
Yes,
It's like,
yes.
oh, it's the new thing. It was like, meeting equity last year. It was, hybrid work, and AI
Right.
is the latest bandwagon. We're all on it. But again, there is that. Some people have actually got substance and can talk about it and can, use it and embrace it, and others are just like, oh, he said that. Yeah, me too.
Right.
So that's the thing I think with AI. It's trying to work out who's actually bluffing. It's a poker game, isn't it? Who's got the real AI hand, and then who's just bluffing and
So
using it.
really quickly, I will give you the bandwagon analogy, except for one slight adjustment here.
Okay.
2 years ago, I went to CES for the very first time, right? Everything was the metaverse, right? Metaverse this, metaverse that. It was the metaverse was the next thing, right? This is different though, right? AI generically, that term and that technology is different, because regardless of whether it's Elon Musk freaking out that we're all going to be taken over by our technology overlords, or it's the other end of the spectrum, people are already leveraging it and using it. AI really is changing this space and every other technology space, as opposed to other flash in the pan technology buzzwords that we've heard over the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. And there really is, AI built into all these products already.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people are just reminding, the kind of the audience that though we've had AI for years, and really the difference is, the generative AI piece.
Yep.
And they, sometimes some of the vendors like combine the two because it's in their best interest, right? To say,
Well,
oh yeah,
marketing,
we've always done AI. Let's let this
David, introduce yourself.
Yes. David, welcome.
Hi, I'm David Melder from Let's Do Video, and I'm the late guy. Sorry about that.
You're not the latest guy. There are going to be more people here.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm not the latest guy.
We're going to need a 360 camera, I think, to get everyone in.
Well, it moves.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about technology. I don't want to get in
Jump
trouble.
in. AI is different. How many times did I use the metaverse? 0. How many times have I used ChatGPT?
Yeah.
More than 0.
Well, I'm always happy to be not happy, but I'm willing to be the contrarian about all the stuff that's going on. The curmudgeon. I have the curmudgeon of AV sticker that our friend gave us. We're building a house
Somewhere
of cards.
Dave Michael's ears are ringing, but
Oh, he'll be here too. He'll be here too. We're building a house of cards. We know that there's a huge lawsuit against OpenAI from the New York Times, and I forget the number of authors.
Several
40
creators.
authors,
Yes,
50
creators,
authors.
musicians, yeah.
And Microsoft has come out and said that they're going to indemnify everybody that's using their Copilot, so you don't have to worry about anything. That is a big number. They were negotiating for a long time, and they walked away from the table. So, no AI. Understand how to use generative AI, understand how to use the assistants, absolutely. Advise our customers, you need to be up to speed on what's going on, fine. Do not listen to the hype about building your business processes on AI if it's going to explode.
it depends on what you're talking about AI though. So, if you're using AI for your own data, and you're looking at how do I get insights out of data, how do I take the data about my customer interactions and optimize agent responses, optimize agent suggestions. You're not really worried about lawsuits against ChatGPT or so on. That's really where we see a lot of the value, especially around customer facing. And I've noticed so far in a couple of sessions, I did a security session yesterday, and just talking to a bunch of folks, this year is a little bit more around a reality check around AI. Is there an ROI when you're telling me I have to pay $30 a month for it? What are the security issues? What are the issues with hallucinations? Are you going to create a new frequent flyer program that I don't know about and share that with my customers? That's come up in a number of conversations, 2 of the sessions I went to yesterday. So I think that's kind of interesting to see that we've gotten a little bit past that hype cycle, and now we're more into the reality check.
But I fundamentally, the thing that I see that people don't understand is, like, as you say, Erwin, you can use your own data to build a model, right? And you use the tools, and you get a data scientist, and you test the model, but people don't understand the difference between that and then just like plugging into an existing LLM, whether it's OpenAI or Anthropic, and they make it sound like you take your data and, I don't know, throw it at ChatGPT, and that retrains the model, or the model improves. It's like the model, you're not changing the model. You might be doing grounding, or you might be doing, feeding in context. And I think that these are the two things. Like, using ChatGPT is easy, right? You go to it, you use it. Creating your own model This takes some real skill, and that skill is hard to find in the industry, and it's hard to do it right. And so I think people are combining the two, and one is easy and one is hard, and that's the big misunderstanding.
This actually brings up a good point about your internal processes, regardless of the company. We have a CIO, we have a CTO, we have a CMO. You need a chief, either AI officer, or give that job to your CIO.
Well, give it to the guy who's the chief metaverse officer.
Well, that's right. Because that person's not doing anything now either. But you need to have, you have to have a framework for your company that makes sense for your mission statement, as well as if you've got your shareholders and all that,
right,
to make sure that you are staying safe and your employees are using it in a responsible manner, but also get the benefit out of it.
Yes.
So you could say, ChatGPT, build me a framework for my company that
Lord.
keeps me safe, and everything else that Tim said. I just wanted to follow up on something Erwin said that I've noticed recently in Microsoft presentations. 6 months ago was all the benefits of Copilot and the amazing things Copilot can do. And now they keep showing these charts saying our customers saying they're 85% more efficient at this and 27% more efficient at that. So like you're saying, the discussion now isn't, hey, this stuff is great. The discussion now is, can we prove it actually gives value to our customers?
Well, Kevin, make the point that you made to me that literally blew my brains just about the idea that you can't ask it because it never tells you what it did. It just gives you a better answer the second time.
Well, I think the point that when we were talking about it is, like, right now there's not really explainability, right? So if you get a result and then you ask the model's not actually explaining how it got to the result. It's really just that now afterwards making up a story, right? So whatever it came up with, it's now, if you ask it, how did you get there? It's just coming up with a new explanation after the fact
to answer that question that you just asked it.
Right? It's not like it's going, and
it can't go back and look.
Yeah, and I love this story, this article title. I'll get the title a little bit wrong, but it was from the MIT Tech Journal, and it's like, LLMs can do wonderful things. We just don't understand how they do that. and these are the experts, right? And that's a bit of the problem, right?
Yeah, and I've seen some vendors now that are starting to add attribution to their responses. So, okay, here's what here's my response, and here are my sources for my response. So now you've got a paper trail or some way that you can audit the response.
And figure out, and that's actually what, either humans, you really do need to check, because if it gets it right 9 times out of 10, but the 1 time out of 10 it gets it horribly wrong. That's a real problem.
Would you fly in an airplane that gets it right 9 times
out of 10?
That's
the problem.
We all do, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dave just stepped in.
Guest here.
When you talk about flying in an
Introduce yourself, Dave. You just stepped in Tim's seat.
I'm Dave Michaels from Talking Points, and the airplane metaphor, David, is actually very appropriate because they call this stuff Copilot. And for some reason, every vendor is calling it Copilot. I don't really understand that one, but they call it Copilot. But the thing is, Copilots don't do anything. I mean, they're a heartbeat away from being a pilot. I mean, they keep on saying, these co-pilots are here to assist you. Co-pilots don't do anything. They're completely useless until the pilot dies. Co-pilot doesn't do anything.
So the first vendor, the first vendor that comes up with a co-pilot where you step away from your desk and an inflatable version of you pops up, it's going to corner the market. Yeah.
So Dave, since you joined us, you broke some of the news yesterday morning that's coming out of Enterprise Connect this year about one of the big alliances, and I know we were having a number of conversations about that last night, saying, huh? So why don't you tell everybody that with that?
You're talking about the via Zoom.
Yeah.
It's actually, I think, I didn't get it at first either. It is actually, I think, a very clever move for both companies, and I think the users in particular will benefit. But the idea is, and I've talked about this, probably Kevin's heard this before. I used to talk about UC and explain what UC was, and I used to use this pizza metaphor, and I said that voice is the cheese pizza, and then you add toppings like video and chat, and you build up your pizza, but you always start with a cheese pizza. And that was true for a long time, a really long time. And then I think it was Skype for Business was the first one to kind of say, why don't we start with chat? Why don't we start with video? And we'll make voice on the options menu. And then other companies have followed that, and that's become... So when you look at Avaya, they've been around for so long that they started with the voice cheese pizza, And now the world's kind of changed, and everyone's kind of leading with video and chat, and they're not one of the top players in that space. And so they've got a problem because they've got these huge installed customers that have these Aura phone systems that are not just phone systems. They're like customized into their workflows, and they're doing all these incredible things. They're not easy to replace, but all these companies are buying enterprise licenses for video and chat.
Right.
And so they've got this contention going on where every vendor wants to be winner takes all. I want this. So instead of winner takes all, Avaya and Zoom said, why don't we kind of figure out how to do this? And so why don't you take your video and chat and connect it to our Aura infrastructure, and then the customers can keep their Aura infrastructure, whether it be on-prem or private cloud, and you can still keep your customized workflows and not have to do a forklift, because that's what Avaya is talking a lot about, this innovation without disruption. So you can keep your infrastructure in place, and then
At least until the next bankruptcy, right?
I was going to go there.
And then still use an enterprise-wide licensing plan for your chat. And so it's actually, if you look at where these two companies are coming from, Avaya got offended when I said they came out of the Bell system, but they did come out of the Bell. I mean, this is like, you could say it's a 100-year-old company, and so they've been around for, different names and different iterations, but they've been around for a long time. Zoom is this cloud native, and so, but they've kind of come to the same place, and I think it's a really clever partnership. I don't believe it's the last of these partnerships. If you noticed, Avaya was very clear, this was not an exclusive arrangement. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Avaya adds a few more collaboration partners.
So it's like you heard it here first. Avaya is into pizza delivery business.
There you go.
That's what I took away. Was that the?
Do they like
that
pineapple
was the Chat GPT summary of what Dave said.
Somewhere there's some RadVision folks going, we had this.
RadVision, yeah.
Oh God, I remember Codian. Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about a transition to hardware, just for a second. Because when we introduced video bars into this industry 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago roughly, it was an innovation. It was amazing. It was terrific. Everybody's got a video bar now. You got companies down on the floor that you've never
got
heard
one
of.
right here.
Yeah. Well, that's one of them, but that's not the one that has the codec in it. It's just the one that we're shooting with. But yes, there's one shooting us right now. Many companies are introducing new video bars that they haven't made themselves. They're just buying them from OEMs and putting their label on them. Are we in an industry now where hardware is not something we're talking about anymore? I mean, Cisco introduced 2 new hardware products at the show. You guys know more than I do. You were briefed. Not a lot of new stuff to put our hands on down there. A lot of people with new software, new alliances, but not a lot of hardware.
Yeah, I mean, software is definitely getting the attention, and we talked about AI at the beginning, but yeah, like you said, new phones from Cisco. That's almost like a shock that someone's delivering a new phone, but they're focusing the phones on flexible work, hot desking type environments, adding some additional functionality. I think they also introduced a new touchscreen. Barco has their new video bar on the floor. So center room cameras are still becoming more well known. We see a lot of investment in companies trying to still solve that hybrid meeting issue of what do I do when I'm the remote person who used to be able to look everybody in the face. Now I see the side of everyone's head, and the people who are in the meeting room can't participate easily on the whiteboard and on the chat. So there's still a device market, and I'm sure you can add a lot more
I get
detail
very
into
frustrated when companies introduce devices in our industry that we've had before that failed. Whether it's center.
It's like when they make a remake of a bad movie.
Exactly. And what kills me is most of the media that covers, not you, Tim, most of the media that covers this industry talks about, oh my God, look at this amazing thing. It's this amazing new Project Ghost that we're looking at. It's like, weren't you alive in 2007 and 2008 when we saw this and realized the first time we had to share a spreadsheet or have 3 people on camera, it fell apart. Same thing with center of table cameras. That was a Microsoft invention, and Polycom had it for a long time. And then we realized that it really, as good an idea as it was, it had very small use cases. It wasn't really used very much. Now it's the latest thing in the world.
But that's because of Al had an accidental success. But you may find this surprising, but I completely disagree with everybody here. I just want to say that this is really all about hardware. Now, there's commoditized hardware, cameras, video bar, whatever. There's commoditized hardware. There always will be. There always will. But if you think about what's happening here, you've got 20 years ago a landmark antitrust case with Microsoft that changed the industry in many ways, and that was all about software. What is the antitrust case this week? It's Apple, and it's all about hardware. It's 100% about hardware. And Apple's built a very successful phone, and they've got all this stuff. They've got all these lock-ins on it, and it's all about how they've done that hardware. And I keep on thinking, how Cisco basically went from irrelevant back to relevant again. How? With their hardware. And they've cozied up with Microsoft, and they said, hey, we can make your room systems better. And so I don't think hardware is at all dead. I don't think it's at all commoditized. I think that we are at the beginning of a new golden age of hardware.
So how many vendors have mentioned NVIDIA this week already? Just in conversations.
They
might be
here.
Yeah, they might be the most important hardware vendor who's not even here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You remember how it used to be that everybody was personal friends with Sammy Davis Jr.? Everybody's personal friends with NVIDIA now in this industry. And we're not going to be talking about chips or GPUs anymore even. We're now just talking about, we've gone full circle now, AI.
It'll be APUs, AI processing units, yeah.
AI
I mean, it's interesting. So TI used to have the stronghold in the UC industry. It was the TIO map. That was the processor that every vendor was using. And then we all jumped on the Qualcomm bandwagon. It was in Snapdragon, the 835. All the video bars are generally based on a Snapdragon Qualcomm. And again, NVIDIA, seem to be the one that are coming into the fray and getting involved in this.
But how many more innovations can you put on the video bar? You have D10 out there who's figured out that you can mount it vertically.
Smart.
That's
like
cool.
that.
You've got
That's
Barco
cool.
out there that says we'll put our sharing device inside it.
Again, that's cool.
But I don't know how many other.
That does everything. Wouldn't that be good? I mean, the hardware is a vehicle.
No, it wouldn't be good because if it does everything, it's going to be priced out of the market for the cheaper ones that are being introduced.
Yeah, I mean, Dave makes a good point about the pizza analogy. I think the hardware is an enabler. It's a delivery mechanism for the software and the AI features and the functions on top. And the 360 camera, going back to that point, I'll circle back, as people say in corporate speak. It was a good 360 analogy, but
You've been in the US too long.
I know, I'm learning American. But it was before its time. I mean, again, like Centro and the Roundtable products were genius and brilliant, but it was trying to educate the end user to say, okay, get rid of that long boardroom table, chuck this thing in the middle and put some couches around it. And everyone was like,
God.
you're
Centro,
smoking
you
some...
believe that they
But again, Cisco brought it out.
reintroduced-
But it was ahead of its time. Now we're kind of the users and the operators and the people that will get value out of this are actually kind of ready for this stuff. Back in 2016, when Centro was launched and the Roundtable products were there, people were like, well, I'm not doing video, I'm not turning it on, I'm shy, I'm not used to doing Snapchat and Instagram and all that stuff on my phone. Now everyone's video savvy and having this 360 thing. I think we're ready. It was way ahead of its time, and I think again the 360 thing is interesting. There's two vehicles. One is the center of the table, the inside looking out, and then there's vendors like Hudley and I'll plug Crestron in that. We're outside looking in, and there seems to be this dual mode, either the Pringle tin in the middle of the table, which captures you, or as I say, having loads of cameras around the room that then can go in.
But David Maldoy, you made the point recently that people have just sort of kind of figured it out, right? That's the difference now is that people, they know how to make shots. We don't have to tell them anymore.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's not that cameras aren't gonna or hardware isn't interesting anymore, or anything's gonna happen with it. Well, it is that it's not interesting anymore, and I think it's not interesting because it's gotten so good. It used to be when a lot of you have been in this industry longer than me, but when I started in this industry, we had cameras that didn't focus, remote controls that didn't work. I mean, things didn't connect. There was a lot that we were expecting from the hardware, and it's gotten there and then some. I mean, even the generic commoditized video bars that all come from the same place. They're good. They're 4K. I mean, some of them. You plug them in, they work. It's not like you plug them in and why is everyone green and purple? The lighting's not. The stuff is
This
so
one's doing
good.
a good enough job.
I haven't set up any lights in this room. We're just sitting under the regular room lighting.
You look
Great. That on average they're
Not for
great.
decades.
So I feel it's the stupidest thing, but in the late 1800s, the guy who was the head of the U.S. Patent Office made a statement. He wanted to shut it down because he had so many great inventions in his lifetime. He couldn't imagine anything else. This is before the combustion engine. This is before the airplane. And I feel like that stupid guy now. I'm not expecting anything great from our hardware. Okay,
You should.
we'll make it go this way, make it go this way.
You should, because it keeps getting better, and that's
The marginal or
excuse me. But the thing is, I suspect I'm the only one here that's an Android user. I know you've got an iPhone. I think you
I bought a Pixel after your recommendation.
All right, okay. So there's a few people here. One other person here with an Android. But the thing is, I got the very first Android phone, which was the G1, I think it was called. It was right after the iPhone came out, and it wasn't as good as the iPhone. And I was like, oh, it's just a matter of time till they catch up. To this day, Google has never made a phone as comparable as the leading iPhone. To this day, hardware is hard. It is really hard to get right. And what happens is the innovations keep getting better. And, like you talked about NVIDIA, and I mentioned Cisco earlier. Cisco made a choice, 3 years ago to put NVIDIA in there. They didn't, that was turned out to be, masterful, brilliant planning, but it was luck. I mean, but the thing is, hardware does keep on changing. It doesn't change every version. So yeah, a lot of video bars look like, oh yeah, this is commoditized, whatever. Maybe they'll get better. And I would hate to have to sell webcams right now. I mean, it's just there's just what can you really do? But what moves this industry forward? The winners at CES a few months ago was that little rabbit thing. It was a piece of junk toy AI thing that barely has nowhere near the power of a cell phone, of a smartphone. That was the hands down winner of the show. Most interesting was they sold like 1,000, whatever.
Sold out.
Yes, and it was just like, because it was a new idea, it was a new innovation, and it was clever, and they made it red, and it was, it was good design.
Sometimes you get lucky, and sometimes you don't. I don't know if you want to take a minute to tell everybody the car story, because that one's still being figured out, right?
No. That's the number one conversation here that I've been having. Dave, tell me about the Fisker. Oh no, that's not an exciting conversation.
Not one even asking about that one.
Yeah, it's a sad state. I would just say that.
But for every good, my point is, very good piece of hardware, there's a great piece of hardware that just didn't make it in the market, like the physical smart boards. The Smart made a beautiful whiteboard that you could write on, that you could then share on an app. The problem is, in order to share on the app, you had to be on the public cloud, which companies wouldn't do, and it went away. And now I have it in my basement. If anybody wants one, I can send it to you.
But it's like divorcing the hardware and the software. Like, I feel that's nonsensical. Like, it's like the iPhone isn't great because the hardware is great alone. It's great because the hardware is great combined with the software, right? And that was Androids. That wasn't the hardware.
And Google controls the hardware and the software, and they cannot match an iPhone. They try, but they can't do it.
Well, but that's a smartboard thing. Like, it was the software that made it problematic, right? But to use the Neil, let's circle back. Let's talk about these like multi-camera rooms, right? Because it's like, I get that vendors say if you put 50 cameras in a room, that's a good idea because it drives. But it's like, if you want meeting equity, why doesn't everybody just open their laptop in the room? And yeah, sure, not everybody turns on audio so we don't get feedback. But okay, we have central audio, and this is the meeting equity thing, right? It's like everybody's trying to solve, and we put chat up on the board, but then how do I interact, and how do I have but it's like, why don't we just bring our laptops?
That was one of the reasons why
people are bringing their laptops anyway because they're doing other emails while they're not paying attention to the meeting.
But if that's the case, why come in the office? If I'm just staring at my laptop in a meeting room, why am I there?
Well, because you're interacting with people, right?
If you've already had the reason to come in the office. That's one of the reasons why I really like the Hudley crew that was on my show last week, and that you've seen in some of the shows and you guys have worked with, because the idea, and I have an article out there, I think from 2011, calling it a camera array, which is just like we have microphone arrays, how many microphones in they're all going to communicate with each other, and the one that has the best audio sound is going to be the one that's gone to for their same thing. We've got cameras, we're all wearing cell phones, and we have computers, we have other cameras. There's no reason why they can't all communicate with some, Bluetooth or some other technology, talk to each other, figure out who's got the best shot of me, and then just switch to that camera. So if I open my laptop, all of a sudden, if I allow it, it goes into the pool. Or if I put my phone on the table, it goes into that pool. I think we're headed there. That and small cameras in the bezels of displays so that you can process the video.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to quickly say, I mean, it's a genius idea, and again, we talked about it for a long time at a previous company about opening a laptop. There's two major challenges. One is the bandwidth, because you've now got 5 streams going out of that room. I mean, Crew and all these multi-cameras consolidated with a single stream out, so that would be one challenge. The other thing is, everyone's laptop is super locked down, and trying to get that to work, and my laptop's running slow, so my video is going to be delayed and my audio is going to be delayed. So I think there's too many variables on all those different laptops.
It's hard to do.
I mean, again, we might get there in the future, but I think it's too early.
And I think that the thing is it's kind of like desk phones, right? Like when people figured out how to do a call on their laptop with their headset, and then if they came into the office and there was a desk phone there, it actually made things more complicated because they already knew, because when they're in the hotel, when they're at home, they already knew how to make a call. Then they get into office and now their headset's pairing, like Bluetooth, they don't know what device pairing when it rings. So this is kind of what I'm thinking about is when you get into the room and you have extra devices, if what you know how to do is do a good meeting on your laptop. And so unless it's really, really simple, but I understand the bandwidth constraints, right? So
I think there are companies that are looking at that, again, the ability to have multiple mics using the laptop mics, multiple cameras using the laptop cameras. But I think it's very infancy. Maybe that's the thing in the patent office. You were saying there's nothing new coming. Maybe in 5 years' time, we'll have that, and we can say we said it first.
Yeah, and I like the multi-camera in like very boardrooms and like that absolutely. But to think that it's going to go down into the smaller rooms, I'm not sure. Right?
Yeah, no, I would agree. There's different. It's horses for courses, different applications, different rooms.
For some reason, the idea of 12 people all at their homes jumping on Zoom and Teams joining a meeting seems natural to me. The idea of 12 people sitting at a table opening their laptops, I don't know why. It's the same thing. It's just as easy, but it feels so unmanageable.
You sunk my battleship.
It feels like a problem having all those cameras. I think maybe a better solution would be having one camera in the middle of the table.
So in a room.
Everyone.
Maybe one camera.
I mean, when you have a meeting and everybody has their laptop open, so Dave, what do you think?
What?
I'm sorry. I missed that. I was busy composing an email or whatever.
It depends on corporate culture, right? Because it's like sometimes, people are like, don't have your laptop open, don't be on your cell phone. But other organizations, everybody does bring their laptop to consult their notes or whatever, although they are working on something else and not paying attention.
Well, I don't know why you guys, I mean, obviously your backgrounds or whatever, but you guys are all talking about video conferencing as if this is like some sort of UC or video conference. This is the contact center event. I thought it was
Razzles is a candy. Razzles is a gum. All right, so we need to close this out only because I think I'm running out of memory on the computer. But I'm surprised nothing has blown up yet, and I shouldn't say that. Let's all go around one at a time, and Tim, you'll have to bop back in here in a minute. I'll get up. Give us your predictions for what's going to be the biggest story coming out of Enterprise Connect next year. Not companies, but in technology. Is it still going to be AI? Is it going to be something else? Is it a fantasy? Is it how the industry is consolidated some more? Think about it for a second. And you're on the end, Erwin, so I apologize.
The audience are looking. We've got audience around us, and there's some funny faces going on in the audience to that question.
Do I go last or first?
You go first. I trust you.
Probably consolidation, acquisition. I think the era of the standalone UC and CC vendors is starting to go away. And I think in our research, we heard this morning one of the vendors say, and they said on stage yesterday, AVNation, we're not going to talk about UC and CC anymore. It's one and the same going forward. But there are a lot of vendors who are still focused on contact center, or still focused on UC, maybe less so on that one. But I think consolidation. I think you'll see some big acquisitions over the next year.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Go ahead, David.
Things don't happen very quickly in this industry, so you have to look at what's already trending a little bit here, just below the radar. And I think it's definitely mobility, and I think that the UCaaS equation, which tends to be wired oriented right now, is going to become wireless oriented. We're already seeing Cisco, Microsoft, Ring, now Vonage and there's a few European partners, and I'm not even talking about the wireless providers, AT&T, Verizon, Vodafone. I think we're going to see this massive move. I should say, rephrase that. We're going to see a massive acceleration toward the wireless adoption, cellular adoption of UCaaS.
Okay. I've got one, thanks. It's all good. I think, again, I'll throw the AI flag up. I think the AI stuff at the moment from the video point of view, the UC video conferencing point of view, at the moment there's a lot of stuff that's still kind of a little bit beta-y and a little bit not quite there. I think, the main adoption of some of these technologies, the fact this camera's doing tracking and framing, and again, these 360 cameras, I think it will become more mainstream again. I think we're still at the bleeding edge of, again, the center of the room cameras and the 360. I think it will become more adopted, more AI features will get on there, and it will give people a better experience and people will adopt it more. But I think we're at the bleeding edge. I think it will become more mainstream.
I think they're going to stop giving away these bags because nobody wants them. At the end of the show,
I've got too much luggage. I need extra storage.
At the end of the show, they put out stacks and say just take as many as you want. I think it's and again, I'm being silly, but it's a good point. Which one of us have ever taken notes on a notebook anymore? Now we have our electronic devices for the most part that we're taking notes on. People aren't carrying as much things.
Or when reaching for
or was reaching for his notebook, right? Exactly. So no, I think we're getting a lot of people coming into our industry that are embracing the technology more than they ever have before. It's going to lead to less people in offices, more people working not remotely, not from home, not lying in bed eating bonbons, but I can be working anywhere. It doesn't matter if I'm at the airport today, it doesn't matter if I'm a client today. I can access my files. I have people, reaching out to me. I couldn't read that document. Can you resend it? Sure, no problem. And I'm just doing it from my mobile. I think we're becoming a more portable, mobile, less luggage society. So I think that'll be the big story next year.
Yeah, I think we're going to see, it's still going to be the AI trend. I mean, to your point, David, things move slowly. I think, this year is aspirational. There's a lot of talk of AI assistants, AI companions, co-pilots, what have you. I mean, none of them really kind of, do that, right? They're, if you're in a meeting, it's only looking at the meeting transcript. It's not looking at the fact that we exchanged some emails last week or what have you. I think we're going to see this, a lot of the stats this year are saying people believed it made them more productive. They believed it increased their quality. I think next year we're going to start getting some quantitative evidence that, okay, in some cases, it absolutely improves productivity. And we're also going to know the cases where you use AI first, and then you say, oh man, I got to go back and do it the manual way, and you'll avoid those cases where it actually reduces overall productivity. So, more quantitative data, we'll be talking about Enterprise Connect 2025.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still going to be talking about AI. I mean, it took us 4 years to get over telepresence. We're not going to get over AI in 1 year. What I wish it was going to be, but it's not going to be, is AR and immersive environments. I think they're cool. I think they're great. I think that when done right, which I don't think has been done yet, they do have business uses. But I think it's going to take us a while to get there. I think there's a bigger trend, and I'm not sure how it's going to affect our industry. I think the way we build our computers is going to change. Right now, my computer has two brains. It has a CPU, which does all the thinking, and has a GPU, which does all the thinking for the graphics. I think Intel is planning on making me buy an AIPU. I think they're building chips that do AI on the edge, because they don't think we should go up to the cloud to ask Copilot what to do. Copilot should live on our computers. So our computers are going to have 3 brains. They're going to be more expensive to build. We're going to have to buy another card for it. And I think that's going to affect everything in the world, and it's going to have implications for our industry that I haven't even thought
I
of
like
yet.
what you're saying there, Dave, but I'll just say that whatever Intel aspires is irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
David's arguing for no brains.
Yeah, but they're done. They're done. I mean, yeah.
Tim?
Intel has no impact.
Wow.
So I'll wrap them all with AI as well as the second and third brain, David. Microsoft has some pretty unique products and features coming down the pipeline as far as video processing, right? If any of it, if you go out and Google, right, the latest generation of AI created video and the market improvement, it's happened in 18 months, right? ChatGPT was released to the public by and large in late 22.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
so 18 months ago. The advancements that's happened in those 18 months is staggering. I don't think any of us here can say exactly what's going to happen in 12 months because none of us know. Because the technology is advancing far too quickly. And I say that as somebody who's a fan of it. I'm not saying it far too quickly as a negative. It's happening really, really quickly. And so what's going to happen is in 6 months, all of us are going to turn around and go, what the heck did we talk about at Enterprise Connect 24? Because all of this is different, right? All of this is advanced. And
We
so
won't do this next year. We'll have our avatars, AI-powered avatars
we
talking
can all
for us.
sit at
Back
home,
to the metaverse,
right?
exactly.
Tim, did you hear?
Oh,
Have you
God,
heard
no.
about the Tyler Perry thing?
No.
'Cause- So Tyler Perry, the producer,
Yeah.
he's out in Atlanta, and he had the money said he was going to. I forget if it was a $600 million or $800 million. I think it was $800 million studio he was going to build, massive complex. He saw the new Sora, the AI thing, Sora, which is the Chat GPT video thing that can create a video, and it's not like the ones 2 years ago where the mouths look weird and everybody has 4 hands.
No.
It looked like a good Hollywood video, and he canceled it. The whole $800 million project is done. He says, "Why would I build a studio? I'm just going to use something like this."
Well, and
So-
you also see what they're doing with the Unreal Engine. The videos they're creating there is fantastic. And Unreal, if you're not familiar with it, it's the underlying technology of Fortnite, right? That's just one of the ways they make money. The guy that started this, let me see, North Carolina and South Carolina. He started in the 90s,
Yeah,
right?
it's like
his
Doom
parents
or
came
whatever
in,
that game was,
his
you know.
parents' basement, right? Which is make jokes about that later. But the technology there is incredible, and you pair Unreal Engine with the creation, the LLM creation technology. What we're seeing today is going to give us the ability to really connect with people and really kind of have an interactive experience.
The problem is it was all a lie. We were told that the robots would come along and do all the heavy menial labor, and we'd be able to do the poetry and write all the
But now
the
it's
books
doing
and
the
do all
poetry.
Now it's doing the books and the movies, and we're doing the menial labor. So I want to thank everybody for watching this. If you stayed with us, so thank goodness for that. I'm now here in the back row, and I would say please join us on our next show. But our next show could be Crest TV. It could be AVNation, it could be Let's Do Video, it could be BC Strategies, it could be Metrigy. I forget, what do you call yours again, your videos?
Talking points.
No, Talking Points is the website, but the video's got a different name. I know that it's got a logo. You do with Zeus. I forgot the name.
Real-time recording.
Real-time recorder. This could be real-time recorder. We're all going to get the file, and who knows what we're going to do with it. Some people may, put it into an Unreal Engine and put like rabbit ears on all of us. Yeah. But thank you for watching. We're just going to keep talking. It's only Tuesday. We have to be here till Thursday. So thanks for joining us.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
This is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AV Nation.